everyone, welcome to another Sunday live stream. I'm happy to have you all here. While I'm waiting for people to trickle in, and Ninky, oh, you're on early. Hi, good to see you. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but good to see you again. While I'm waiting for everyone else to join, I'll just do my brief introduction here for anyone who doesn't know who I am. I know a lot of you already know the spiel, but my name's Erica Benson. I have a company, Gokche Capital, and I invest in vacant land. So let me just share my screen for a second. My company's website is gokchecapital.com, and we both buy and sell land, so you can come here if you want to sell your land or if you want to buy land. And later in the live stream, I'll go over some of our latest properties. But you also may want to check out a number of our free resources. We have a blog with over 450 articles, I believe. These are all long form articles, at least 2,000 words. Try to go a deep dive into all kinds of topics that would be relevant to land buyers. And the reason I did this is because when I started out buying vacant land, I could find very little information that was specific to vacant land. So I just wanted to make sure that those resources were available for anyone who needed them. And we also do have some courses. These are paid, but if you're interested in that, we have a land investing course, land due diligence course, and a course on the lessons we learned marketing properties online. And you're probably familiar with this, but I have a YouTube channel as well, so I also have informational content there. I do post videos on all of my properties, so you'll see those on a regular basis, but occasionally I'll do informational videos, so you should check those out if you're in the market for land. Hi, Silent Ninja. Happy to see you again. You're definitely #1 participant, so it's always great to have you here. And let me think, just for anyone else who's not familiar with who I am, my background is actually in architecture, and then I worked in affordable housing. I was actually a director with New York City's Affordable Housing Agency for a couple years. And then I started a land investing business. My goal is to help people become landowners and also to make land affordable. So as I'll go over, when I go over our properties later, we do offer owner financing on all of our properties at only $1 down. So that's one way that we try to make land affordable. Now, still waiting for a few more people, but I guess we can get started on today's topic because Ninky, I believe you were the one who requested infill lots. So since you're here, I think we can get started. Last week, by popular vote, it was decided that we would talk about infill lots today. And just the way that the format of this live stream works is I'll cover our chosen topic for the first, say, 20 minutes. Then I'll show you one of my latest properties, and then we'll do the vacation giveaway, which I know is why many people are here. And as I'm talking, if I pause or I have a second, I'm going to take a look at the chat screen, see if there are any questions or points of conversation that I can jump in on. And of course, everyone who's here, if you want to be thinking about what you may like to discuss next week, I can take requests and that will become next week's topic. Otherwise, I'll pick something that I think is interesting and relevant to land buyers and landowners. All right, infill lots. So, infill lots, I'm not sure. I guess before I get started, one question from Silent Ninja. What state is currently booming the most as far as land sellers go? Yeah, I mean, California, Texas, it's probably where you would think. California, Texas, Florida. The Southwest has a lot of activity too, but the big states, and yeah, I think the Southwest is where a lot of at least land investors are. That doesn't mean that those are the best places to buy land, of course, but Texas is certainly a big market, and so is Florida. All right, let's see. So infill lots. Infill lots are the metaphor I've heard is they're like the missing teeth in urban fabric. They are vacant parcels of land within a community that's already pretty well developed. So we're not talking about rural lots or even, say, lots in kind of the exurbs. We're usually talking about lots that are within a town or a city, but they could be in the suburbs as well. Generally anywhere where all around the property are homes, or most of the properties have been built with homes. I say homes because that's the most common kind of infill lot, but of course you can have an infill lot in any sort of area. So it could be an infill lot in a commercial district or in a residential district. But the point is that almost all the lots in the immediate vicinity have been built with something. And this is just the one of only a handful of vacant properties that have not been developed. That's the general definition of infill lots. Some people, hi Giselle, good to see you again. I'm so happy that you keep joining. Although sometimes when people talk about infill lots, especially within the land investing community, they may mean a parcel of vacant land that is just that's basically not in a very rural area. So it could be in a suburb that hasn't been developed that much, but it may still, some people may call that an infill lot, but the thing that makes the real definition of infill lot is, again, it's pretty much like a standalone vacant parcel of land surrounded by development. The reason this definition is important is because the fact that it's a holdout can actually make it a more difficult property to develop than one that is just, say, in a more open area. And there are a number of reasons for that, but I think this is the key takeaway when it comes to infill lots. And I say this because actually, when I was a director with New York City's Affordable Housing Agency, I ran the two programs that were tasked with developing the remaining city-owned parcels that were our infill lots. And these were some of the most difficult to develop lots within the city's inventory and within the new construction arm overall of the Affordable Housing Agency. So that's the key takeaway that I want to start with is you may think that if you're in the market for land right now, you may think that an infill lot is a great investment because there are a lot of homes nearby. So I think intuitively a lot of us would think, oh, the whole area is developed. That must mean that this parcel would be pretty easy to develop as well. So I want to really stress that an infill lot can be somewhat difficult to develop. And I'll go over all the reasons why that may be. Having said that, every parcel is different, so I'm not trying to scare people away from infill lots. If you have the capacity to develop them, and if you find a good lot, sometimes the reason it is an infill lot is because an existing building was just demolished. And in that case, it may not be as problematic as other examples, but it's still going to be a little more tricky to build on. So just understand what you're getting into with an infill lot. On the other hand, because you are building in an area that is well established, it can become a really good investment. It just, you need to understand how to handle the construction of that lot if you want to get a good ROI on the property, or even if you're just looking to buy a property to build your own home. It's important to understand that, there could be some challenges developing that property. But again, because it's in an already established neighborhood, that may be the perfect spot for you. And so, you should go ahead with the project just understanding what you're getting into. I'm going to take a quick look at the comments. So yeah, Giselle's saying, so yeah, it's like an empty lot in between two homes. Like I said, the metaphor I think of is kind of like the missing teeth in a urban fabric or suburban, kind of town fabric. And is there a size limit to be considered an infill lot? Not necessarily, although generally infill lots are smaller. I mean, if you have 10 acres, it's probably not going to be in a super built up area, but there are exceptions. You may have a 10-acre lot in like a commercial or industrial area within a city, but generally infill lots are smaller lots. And the reason why, at least when I was more within the development side of the industry, we would usually classify a small lot as an infill lot. So for example, with New York City's housing agency, the city had a number of parcels in its possession, and they acquired all these parcels over the years through a number of programs they had, but mainly because of tax foreclosures. And the lots that were considered infill lots were the smaller lots. So all of New York City, any parcel of vacant land in New York City is going to be surrounded by development. But we only actually classified the small lots as infill lots. The larger lots were considered normal lots. They went through our normal programs, and we developed a special program just for infill lots because infill lots are particularly challenging. So I don't know if it's the general definition that people use, but in my head, when I think infill lot, I always think small lot within a urban or suburban or town context. So there are buildings on either side of it, and it's somewhat small. That's sort of what I think of when I think of infill lots. And what's the biggest or smallest infill lot you've personally purchased? So with my company currently, we actually focus more on rural lots. We don't often buy properties within cities or towns. But I would say when I'm looking at infill lots, probably, some of the larger ones, maybe half an acre. But, if you're talking about residential town or city lots, urban lots, for lack of a better word, they tend to be smaller. So 1 acre would be somewhat rare. And so I think the reason I think small again is because part of why infill lots are tricky is because they're small. And I'm going to go into a lot of the details here, but if you just think about the logistics of construction, so say you have an empty lot and then you have two properties to either side. Think about all the construction equipment that's required when you build a home. You need bulldozers, you need the big diggers. You do need some heavy equipment to be able to come onto the site in order to create your foundation, to excavate, to move dirt around, all of that, and to pour cement. And so when you have a small lot and you have properties to either side, you're working in a very confined space. And because you're also within a town or a city, you're not going to have the ability generally to take up too much of the road. Many jurisdictions do allow road closures for construction, but you may have limited time periods when you can do that. So it just becomes logistically challenging, assuming nothing else is wrong with the property. And this is in particular why infill lots were really difficult in New York City. So you can imagine when you're talking about a 10-acre property, even if there are two parcels on either side, you may not have those same logistical issues. If you're talking about a half an acre property and there are two parcels on either side, then you have to start thinking about some less traditional ways of undertaking key construction activities because you won't be able to use all of the equipment you might ideally like to. So that's the first reason why infill lots can be tricky. That's not to say you can't develop them. Any good contractor would know how to work around these issues. They just may charge a premium because they have to, they won't be able to use as many men, so it's going to take longer to build in some cases, and they may have to use less efficient equipment if there are issues with maneuvering around the site. Another reason, the other big reason why infill lots can be difficult is that a lot of infill lots, well, there's a reason why a lot of infill lots are infill lots. Each infill lot is like a special snowflake. So you've got to figure out, why is it that just this one parcel hasn't been built on? In some cases, it may be that it's a perfectly fine lot. There was a home there. It just, there was some kind of tragedy, maybe a fire or something happened and it was demolished, and then the previous owner didn't want to rebuild. In that instance, again, there may not be anything wrong with the property. It's just that's the unique history of that property on the street. And yes, you may still have some of the logistical construction challenges, but in those instances, the infill lot, may not be all that challenging. On the other hand, you do have situations where infill lots occur because an old property, it's become old, it's torn down, it had a lot of deferred maintenance, and it was never rebuilt because that particular neighborhood is, say, in a downturn. Market prices are low, and anyone who built the home wouldn't necessarily be able to recoup the costs of construction when they sold the home. And that's a big challenge in many neighborhoods as well. It's a reason why some neighborhoods start to get caught in a downward cycle where prices go down, they drop enough, they can drop to the point where new construction is no longer really viable in that neighborhood, and then investment goes away, and it just sort of spirals from there. So that can be another major issue with infill lots, which is why it's important to look at what the price of a home would be and compare that to the cost of construction. Now again, if you're just looking to build a home for yourself, then maybe it still makes sense to purchase that lot and build on the property. You would just have to understand that if you do sell the lot, if you do decide you have to sell that home then in the near future, you're not going to recoup your construction costs. So that's another major reason why an infill lot may exist in the first place. I'm going to take a second because I see a comment. I'm looking to purchase a property in Puerto Rico with an infill lot, but I'm having a starting issue of getting a loan there. Any suggestions? So unfortunately, I actually don't have much experience in Puerto Rico. I would think that most of the major banks should work there, but I'm afraid I can't give you any suggestions because I have actually no experience in Puerto Rico. But this is a good point. One question you may have about infill lots is how do you fund the acquisition and construction of them, and that you would fund them the same way you would fund any other kind of development project. You would take out a construction loan. Most major banks do provide construction loans. I have a whole article you may want to check out on construction loans. They're not a specialty. They are a specialty product, but they're pretty common. The only thing is that it's not like getting a residential mortgage. You do need to have a hefty down payment. So there generally aren't with construction loans the kind of $1 down, not $1 down. That's our owner financing thing. 1%, 5% down kind of products that are available in the residential mortgage market. You generally need 20% down payment, and they are going to require a lot of documents up front. So you're going to need to have your contractor lined up. That contractor needs to be reputable, bonded. They need to be someone that the bank will approve. You also need all of your documents in place. Some banks may require permits, or at least certain permits be pulled before they give the construction loan. And a bond is going to have to be provided as well to the bank. Now, often the contractor may do this, but it could be that you have to guarantee the loan. So you can get construction loans. You just have to keep in mind that you really need all your ducks in a row in order to get one. So this goes into some of the reasons why infill lots exist in the first place. The last thing I want to say about just being very careful with infill lots is the other major reason why an infill lot may exist is because there's actually something wrong with the property, something about the property itself, not about the larger market you're working within, that would make it either very difficult or at times impossible to build on. So for example, I was looking at one infill lot for a consulting client, and it turns out that it was a property in California. They were really excited about it because it was like the last remaining parcel of undeveloped land in this particular small town. Like most of California, this was an area that had seen prices go up recently, so they thought it would be a really good investment. And then when we looked at it in a little more detail, we found that the city had run almost all of their utility mains through that property. So water mains, sewer mains, underground electrical, all of that. And they had easements, utility easements, right through the middle of the property. And you couldn't build over those easements. So there was really almost no buildable area on that property because the easements took up the whole middle portion of the lot, leaving just slivers to either side. So there are situations like that where you may see a lot that seems like a really good investment, only to find out that there is something, for lack of a better word, structurally wrong with the parcel that'll make it almost impossible to build on. The point here being, if you're going to buy an infill lot, do your research, because more often than not, there's a reason why someone hasn't built on that property yet. Okay. But I do want to cover some of the pros of buying infill lots because, again, it may make a lot of sense for some people. So again, with an infill lot, you're buying in a, we call it established neighborhood, right? It's an area where all the other lots have been built up. You know what the market looks like. You can easily do research about the properties in the area. You can easily research the neighborhood. You understand what you're getting when you buy into that community versus some more rural lots. You may buy them and you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe it could be an area that remains rural, or it could be an area that sees rapid development. You may have less data about pricing, at least when it comes to homes. So there's the advantage of really having a mature neighborhood that you're building in. You're also building in a city or a town, so you're going to be close to a lot of amenities. You're going to be generally close or closer to centers of employment. it's just going to be within a larger market most of the time where there's more demand, unless you are in one of these neighborhoods that is struggling with falling prices and divestment. So that's the major pro to an infill lot. A typical infill lot is priced significantly lower than a typical custom lot. Again, this is often because they're more challenging to build on. But if you understand how to handle an infill lot and you do your research and you know that there isn't something structurally wrong with it that's going to prevent building, you can get a really great deal. But as I mentioned before, again, there's a reason why you're getting that deal. So you want to know that you can handle the project you're taking on before you jump on the deal. And then, as I said, infill lots, sometimes they're a way to get into a great location or a place that you really, a neighborhood that you really want to live in. All right, and then I've covered a lot of the cons, but there are a few things in here that I didn't cover. Let me see. Oh, one question. Do you know if any of the parcels you give away have been built on or developed? So usually because we buy rural parcels, most of our properties have not been built on before. There are a few exceptions, but yeah, for the most part, we buy land in rural areas that have never been developed. And for those that may have had a home on them once, we do, so I should say occasionally, actually we do have some infill lots that we're marketing right now. I don't necessarily consider them infill lots in the same way I'm talking about here, because they're in sort of neighborhoods that are more on the outskirts of the town, so there are a couple vacant parcels on the lot. But yeah, sometimes, every now and then, there's a property that had a home on it, and most of the time it's like, say, in an area with a lot of mobile homes, so it was someone who had a mobile home on the property and moved the mobile home. I think there was one instance where a home burned down and then the owner just had no interest in rebuilding. So yeah, we've actually had a few properties like that where there was a structure on the home at one point. And then, yeah, you're saying, I feel like most empty lots are owned by people that never made a plan to develop or couldn't afford it yet. And that's true, yeah. Again, occasionally, if you're lucky, you can find an infill lot where that's the case. Someone bought the home 50 years ago, they thought that they were going to build on it, and then they just decided it was never worth the hassle, or they never could get the financing together. The area built up around that lot. Now they're selling. There's nothing wrong with the property per se. It's just that one owner has held on to it forever and they never got around to building on it. And then yes, yeah. And in the case of our inventory, the vast majority, they're rural lots. A lot of people don't build on rural lots. And that's why a lot of rural areas remain rural. So that's the case with a lot of our properties. Yeah. So, and true, same with the ones we give away. Those are also rural properties as well. So, yeah, so just a few more cons that I didn't cover. Another issue you can find with infill lots is they may have served as dumping grounds. Sometimes that's just a nuisance, you have to go in and clean it up, but other times that could actually be a big issue if what's being dumped on the lot has contributed to contamination. And if that is the case, then you're going to have to do remediation work, and that can get pricey. So, and as I said, infill lots often have issues that have prevented building. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, they have physical strength constraints. So they made the space, as I said, may be tight, so it could be hard to build on. And then often infill lots, you often see infill lots being irregularly shaped. So maybe they're very narrow or very squat or just an odd shape. And that can make it difficult to build on as well. But yeah, so I think I covered most of this. Those, I think, are the key issues that you should think about. None of this is to say that you shouldn't buy an infill lot. The point is just do your research, make sure you do proper due diligence, understand why it is that that property hasn't been built on, call all the local officials that you can to make sure that you can build on it, speak with a contractor, see how expensive it would be. Just understand going in what the logistics, the constraints, the costs are associated with that lot. All right. Okay, so I think that covered it. Does anyone have any questions about infill lots? I'm happy to cover them more next time as well. And as I mentioned at the start, if anyone has anything that they would like me to cover next week, let me know in the chat, and we can decide on that today. Otherwise, I will select a topic. Okay, but before we get into the vacation giveaway, I did just want to highlight at least one of our latest properties. Let me see. Oh, one question. Have you ever sold a parcel and bought it back later on? Yes, that does happen on occasion. Not all that often, but every now and then we have someone who buys the property and then a year or two later they decide, oh, actually, yeah, building's too much for me. And they want to sell it back to us. International loans. I would love to cover international loans. Unfortunately, I really have no expertise in that because I only work within the United States. Puerto Rico is within the United States, but I haven't worked there either. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I would be the best person to cover international loans. Are there any alternative reasons to invest in a lot that cannot be built on? Yes, of course. There are many reasons why people buy vacant land. I often talk about building on properties, but most people who buy at least rural vacant land never build on the land. So there are a ton of reasons why you might want to buy a property. And actually, I'm surprised I didn't think about mentioning this with infill lots. Even when it comes to infill lots, there are plenty of good reasons why you might want to build an infill lot even if you can't build on it. Like say you want, you just want to have a nice garden in the neighborhood. If you're already a resident in the neighborhood, maybe you are active in your church and you're helping your church purchase that property for a community garden or a community vegetable patch or something like that. Within the rural vacant land world, people buy vacant land to hunt on, they buy vacant land to grow crops on, they buy vacant land to camp on. Some people do camping Airbnbs, so they're going to do an Airbnb, but they don't actually want to develop the property. Rather, they open it up as a campsite, or they just put like I've seen people just put even like a nice RV or trailer on the lot and use that as the Airbnb or a small cabin or something like a glamping setup. Other people really appreciate nature, and with the current inflation and housing situation, shall we wait for next year to buy land in Arizona? So Tom, unfortunately, it's hard for me to, I try not to give investment advice like that. Land doesn't always, in my personal experience, land doesn't always follow the same cycles that the residential market does. And also, a lot of people who are buying vacant land are buying for reasons other than investment purposes. So I think it depends on what your goals are with the property. I will note that it's often difficult to get a loan with vacant land. So Yeah, and that's kind of a long-winded way of saying I try not to give investment advice to say when you should invest in a particular area or in a particular real estate product type. Yeah, sorry, but just think about what your goals are and whether it makes sense for you financially to purchase property right now. So let's see. Okay, Silent Ninja, so you have a few questions. If your property on your website says 534 or 540, no, yes, you're right. That is just our own internal numbering system, and that is the 534th property we've bought, yes. So yeah, you'll see that sometimes we have lower number properties on there. There are a couple of reasons why. Sometimes we buy sometimes we hold properties for a while. So, we haven't tried, there are properties on there that are lower numbers that we haven't tried to market before. We were just holding on to it because that's, in our opinion, what made the most sense. And then occasionally there are people who decide that, they buy a property and they decide that it no longer makes sense for them, and they give it back to us. So I'm having the toughest time finding a nice plot in or near a city in Nevada. Is asking each county about sales a good idea? Yeah, I mean, it never hurts to ask the county assessor about sales in the area. I'm not sure if you must be familiar by now with the land-specific listing sites, but you can look on Land Watch, Land Flip, Land Search. But yeah, you may want to talk about to the assessor. Infill lots can be hard to find, though, in general, especially in really built-up areas. Again, if it's a parcel that is easy to build on, it's usually been built on. So sometimes it just takes a long time to find a property that is on the market and that is actually decent. I'll catch up in 50 years. All right, so I'll quickly go because I don't think I covered this one. We did recently post a property in Hardeman County, Tennessee. This is West Tennessee, and it is in the Grand Valley Lakes subdivision, which is it's a very pretty subdivision around Grand Valley Lake. Grand Valley Lake is a private lake for the subdivision. It has fishing, boating, great water sports. And this property is just about 3 minutes away from the lake on Fairway Drive. This is, it's a more rural community. It was built as, I think there are a number of full-time residents here, but it was also built as sort of a resort vacation community. So you'll see there are a number of homes here, but it's still pretty rural. You get a lot of woods around you as well. And this is almost 0.7 acres. You can learn more about Grand Valley Lakes at their website. But, this would be a residential lot. They don't allow mobile homes, so you would build a traditional home here if that's what you were looking to use the property for. And as I said, Grand Valley Lakes is known for great fishing as well as water sports. And we have this property priced at a cash discount price of $11,499. We do offer owner financing on all of our properties. It's only $1 down. There's also 0% APR, but you don't get the cash discount price when you purchase with owner financing. Having said that, we do take 20% off the total owner financing price if you pay off the loan in the first 6 months. So I don't know if I mentioned this every live stream, but I should. I do always recommend that you purchase with cash if you can. If you can't, we try to help incentivize paying off the loan as quickly as possible. I say this because it's also important to note that with owner financing, you're not able to build on or live on the property until the end of the loan term, but you can make minor improvements, things to kind of get started if you were looking on a construction project. And in areas where it's allowed, you can use the property for recreational purposes. So if you wanted to buy, the only fee is the $395 document fee. With owner financing, there is also a $9 monthly servicing fee that is on top of the $399 per month payment. And with owner financing, I'll also note that the taxes are added onto the monthly payment as well, but we pay the taxes. We actually make the payments during the loan term. And if you want to purchase, we have a very easy process. You just click buy or hold, and there's an automated checkout process. So let's see. Could you also preview the 5-acre lot in Kern County? Yeah, sure, of course. So we do have a 5-acre lot in Kern County. This is a lot in the Mojave Desert. It's about an hour and a half outside of Los Angeles, directly to the north. And this area is kind of interesting. There's been a lot of solar development. You can see on the satellite images all the solar development. It actually has a wind energy overlay on it. So the county appears to be trying to incentivize solar and wind development here. Of course, you should always contact the county to go over their rules and regulations if you are looking at doing renewable energy, but this is an area where there's a lot of renewable energy development. Although having said that, the current zoning, according to my research, also allows for single-family homes, and you'll see that there are homes in the nearby vicinity. It's in the Mojave Desert, so it's a fairly flat lot. It does have access via 2 dirt roads. And oh, Claudia, Grand Valley Lakes. Yeah, it looks, I haven't had a chance to go out there yet, but it looks beautiful. Tennessee is gorgeous. Tennessee is one of my favorite states to visit, actually. We considered moving there at one point. It's maybe why we buy so many properties in Tennessee. In Blitz, we do have one Utah property. Let me just mention the price on this one. I'll show you the Utah property. So this one, the cash discount price is $13,999. Again, it's $1 down, $399 per month, 0% APR. You just don't get the cash discount price, and we have the 20% off if you pay off in the first 6 months. Oh, and I really should highlight, we do have a 30-day money-back guarantee, excluding any fees, but if you buy the property and they decide it's not what you're looking for, we'll return however much you paid toward the actual purchase price minus any fees, as long as the property is still in its original condition. And if you haven't been to our website, you should check out, we have a bunch of bonuses that we added that we're now giving whenever you purchase a property, and we usually give those once the deed is recorded. So with the cash purchase, that would be up front. The owner financing purchase, that would be once the loan is fully paid for. And then I'm in the middle of Tennessee. I'm never moving. Yeah. It seems like a great place. It seems like a great state to live in. I get conflicting comments on my YouTube channel about Tennessee. There's some people who say people are running away from Tennessee, but yeah, I've only visited, but whenever I visit, I really love it. I could see why it's a great state to live in. So we do have one property in Iron County, Utah. Yeah, Blitz was asking about Utah. It is on hold right now. The hold is up tomorrow. But it's about 4.5 acres in Iron County, which is southern Utah. That's close to all the major national parks, including Grand Staircase. It's about an hour from Cedar City. which is a cute little town. I've been there too. They host the Utah Shakespeare Festival. They're known as Festival City. This particular area does have some agriculture going on. You can see from satellite images. And it does have a platted road, but it looks like the road hasn't been developed right now. And the price on this one is $14,999. And again, we have the $1 down, 0% APR, 20% off if you pay off in the first 20 months. And if you want to buy the property, there's the automated checkout process. And favorite place to live or visit. So, and oh, thank you, Blitz. I'm glad you like this stream. So, well, I'll answer your questions, but first let's get the vacation voucher giveaway started, because I'm actually running, usually I keep these to half an hour. They're getting longer and longer, which is good. I'm glad that there's a lot of engagement. People want to stay on longer. So I know I've seen almost all of you on live streams before, but in case any of you are new, the way it works is the vacation voucher is valid for a 3-night, in some cases 4-night stay in one of over 50 global locations. It is valid for a hotel stay. That means that other expenses you would have to cover, like the flight, but the hotel stay is complimentary. You do just need to pay the regular taxes associated with the hotel stay. That's usually around $100, but it varies from location to location. And the way it works is, if you win, I'll send you the list of locations. You let me know which you'd prefer, and I'll send you the voucher. You have 7 days to redeem the voucher. When you redeem the voucher, you don't have to say when you want to book your vacation, but you do need to pay the taxes. After you've redeemed the voucher, you have 18 months to select the exact hotel you'd like and when you'd like to go. I will note that major holidays are usually blocked out, and there is a small fee for weekend bookings. I think it's usually around $50. And the voucher is typically for one person or a couple, but there are going to be a couple hotels in every location that will allow up to 2 children as well. The other important thing to note is that you're only able to redeem one voucher every 12 months. So if you've won a voucher through the live stream before, or if you purchased a property from us and got a voucher that way, you have a couple options if you win. You can either give the voucher as a wonderful gift to a friend or family member, or we can give you a hotel savings card instead. So I think those are the major points. Anyone who's heard me go through this before, let me know if I'm missing anything. But the way it works is, anyone who wants to participate, just say yes in the chat, and then you'll get a number based on what order you said yes in. So the first person is 1, the second is 2, so on and so on. And I'll have Google pick a random number. If your number is picked, you will be the winner. So, and at some point, we will probably develop a little app that everyone can log into to make this more efficient. But for now, that's the process. So see you next week, DK. And yeah, and while we're waiting for everyone to say yes, if you have any topic you really want me to cover next week, let me know now. Otherwise, I will select tomorrow's topic either tonight or tomorrow. So, and let me see, Silent Ninja, you asked, where's my favorite place to live or visit in the US? And that is difficult because I just love most of this country. I think that's why I'm into buying and selling vacant land, because it lets me kind of go around and visit so many different places. Yeah, I think so much of the US is beautiful. I may have mentioned this in another live stream, but pretty much anywhere where there is some outdoor natural beauty nearby. But of course, the US also has a number of great cities that are wonderful to visit too. I have to say, to visit, you can't beat Alaska or Wyoming, Montana for beauty. I really like Tennessee, as I mentioned. I like the desert. It's hard for me to give a favorite. There's so many beautiful places in the U.S. And I've lived all over. Every place has been great, has pros and cons. But since I'm from Chicago, I would have to say Chicago is still one of my favorite places to live. It's just too cold. So will you buy an NC anytime soon? Yes, we're actually planning on looking in North Carolina soon. So we may have some properties, not in the near future, like in the next few weeks, but maybe in the next, say, month and a half, 2 months. Bunkers is an interesting topic. Yeah, that would be an interesting topic. I have to get around to writing a blog post on that. RV camper living in Apache County, Arizona. Yeah, they do allow RV living there. That's one of the counties where you can actually park your RV on a property. Love Big Sky. Yes, beautiful place. Idaho. Oh, yeah, we have not bought in Idaho yet. I would love to. We're not planning in the near future at looking in Idaho, but I'm sure we'll get there at some point. The U.S. is just so big. It's hard for us to be everywhere at once. So, you know, we kind of have to focus at one area at a time. But we'll get to Idaho at some point, I'm sure. There isn't a particularly good reason why we haven't gone there yet. It just, you know, random where we've decided up until now. Okay, so make sure that I do this right because I've been known to make mistakes. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That was different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so 1 through 16. Oh, I keep counting good luck as, yes, I'm sorry. I don't know why. I need to build a more efficient way of doing this. 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, 16. We'll do a random number between 1 and 16. And Google gives us 4, which is actually my favorite number. And number 4, that's Blitz. Congratulations. I'm going to put my email in here if you want to send me an email. Oh, it was 17. Where was you? Oh yeah, I was counting, Jag. Don't worry. I think I got him. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I'm still counting 16. So Blitz, you are a lucky winner. To everyone else, thank you so much. This was a great live stream, a lot of participation. I love it. I love seeing all of you again and again. And if you keep coming, I'm sure you will win because I do this every week. And let me see. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any comments. How about Minnesota or Wisconsin? We've purchased in Wisconsin in the past, so we will get back there eventually, my home region, the Midwest. And looking forward for Virginia. Yeah, Virginia may come after North Carolina. So like I said, the U.S. is giant. It takes us a while to get to every place, but we will probably get there at some point. So keep a lookout. And yeah, so that is that for today. I will be here Sunday, next Sunday, same time, same place, and either later tonight or tomorrow, I will decide on the topic and let you know what we'll be talking about next week. I hope to see you all there. Oh, you did? You bought a Utah property from us in 2020. Great. Well, I'm glad you won then. And Silent Ninja, no. There are no states we avoid, at least not yet. There's land everywhere, and it's all great, all provided it doesn't have environmental contamination, that is to say. So I'll see you all next week, and I hope you have a lovely Sunday evening.